What if you woke up, not just to a new day, but to a new era of governance? Today is day one of a radical, year-long experiment. A nation has willingly handed the reins of its executive functions to a hyper-advanced artificial intelligence. There are no presidents or prime ministers, no cabinet meetings behind closed doors. For the next 365 days, every critical decision will be made not by elected officials, but by algorithms. The AI, codenamed Chimera, has been given a clear set of prime directives, ratified by a global consortium of ethicists and a national referendum. Maximize citizen well-being, ensure long-term resource sustainability, and operate with radical transparency. Its domain is vast. Every budget decision, road repair, hospital triage protocol, and the intricate dance of citywide traffic flow, all optimized by a thinking machine, guided by its core principles. The promise is a society free from human error, political gridlock, and corruption. A government of pure data-driven logic. But as the human-led oversight committee watches from the sidelines, empowered only to intervene in catastrophic scenarios, the central question hangs heavy in the air. Would life truly become smoother, more efficient, more fair? Or in our quest for perfection, would we lose something essential, something unquantifiable about our own humanity? Across history, societies have always experimented with new systems to solve intractable problems. From the birth of democracy in Athens to the dawn of the industrial age, this is simply the next, most audacious chapter in that story. A carefully controlled, democratic pilot, born from years of debate and designed to answer one of the 21st century's most pressing questions. At its core, Chimera is the most sophisticated data processing entity ever created. Its nervous system is a web of data pipelines constantly feeding it real-time information from millions of points. Anonymized public health records, live supply chain logistics, atmospheric quality sensors, economic indicators, and even sentiment analysis scraped from public forums. Every piece of the national puzzle is digitized and fed into its learning models, creating a living digital twin of the entire country. In the first month, the AI targets the low-hanging fruit, the chronic inefficiencies of the old system. Traffic signals are no longer on simple timers, they are a synchronized network, adapting every second to real-time flows, creating green waves for commuters and clearing paths for public transport. The national energy grid, once prone to blackouts, now intelligently distributes power during peak hours, even offering citizens micro-incentives to shift their usage, stabilizing the system and lowering costs for everyone. The impact on healthcare is even more profound. Chimera reallocates medical staff and resources dynamically, shifting specialists to hospitals where predictive models show they will be needed most next week. By analyzing wastewater data and pharmacy sales, it predicts viral outbreak hotspots with startling accuracy, allowing for preemptive public health campaigns. Ambulances are not just routed, their paths are cleared by the city's traffic system, turning red lights green as they approach.
In the first 90 days, the results were undeniable. Citizens noticed shorter commutes, fewer blackouts, and faster emergency dispatch. The efficiency gains were immediate and measurable. A 17% reduction in travel time, a 22% drop in energy bills. It was a honeymoon period. The AI proved its worth on a logistical level. But these are engineering problems. The real test is yet to come, when it must move from optimizing systems to making decisions that involve complex human values.
Algorithms learn from historical data, including past injustices. This data is a mirror of our own flawed history. Decades of biased policing records, discriminatory housing policies, and inequitable access to healthcare and employment. Without careful auditing, AI can freeze those biased outcomes into policy. The algorithm designed for pure efficiency doesn't see injustice. It only sees patterns. It learns that certain neighborhoods require more policing, or that loan applications from specific zip codes are riskier. It then codifies these biases at a scale and speed human bureaucracy could never achieve, creating a new form of digital redlining that is both invisible and absolute. Who is accountable when the system harms a community? Is it the software engineers who wrote the initial code, the data scientists who fed it the biased information, the government officials who deployed it, or the private corporation that developed it? This question plunges us into a legal and ethical void. Many of these systems are black boxes. Their decision-making processes are so complex that even their creators cannot fully explain a specific outcome. Our legal frameworks, built to hold human beings responsible, are simply not equipped for a world where harm is caused by an autonomous, non-human agent. An AI-run state becomes a high-value target. By centralizing the control of essential services, we create a single catastrophic point of failure, a tantalizing prize for adversaries. A single exploit could disrupt food distribution or healthcare, but the threat is more insidious than a simple shutdown. An enemy could subtly manipulate the system's logic, creating cascading failures that are hard to trace. Imagine tweaking traffic algorithms to cause citywide gridlock, or altering resource allocation formulas to sow social division. This isn't just hacking, it's a new frontier of warfare. Even with better metrics, governance must be seen as legitimate. Legitimacy is built on the consent of the governed. We accept authority because we have a voice in the process. How do elections, civic debate, and moral judgment function when machines make visible decisions? An algorithm cannot stand for election. It cannot be swayed by the passionate, moral plea of a citizen. If the most critical decisions about our society are outsourced to an inscrutable machine, what is the purpose of our vote? Many policy choices are not about optimization, but about complex ethical trade-offs. An AI can calculate, but can it exercise wisdom? When we remove human moral judgment from the equation, we risk hollowing out the very soul of democratic governance. The safest designs pair AI with what we call meaningful human control. This isn't a passive role. The human in the loop must have the authority, context, and tools to interrogate and override the AI. This means building systems with transparent logs that are explainable in plain language, not just opaque code. It requires a robust and accessible right to appeal, ensuring any citizen harmed by an automated decision can have their case heard by a human with the power to make it right.
These safeguards are non-negotiable. We need emergency kill switches as the ultimate guarantee that human control is never fully surrendered. To combat bias, we must proactively build inclusive datasets that represent everyone, especially marginalized communities. And we cannot simply flip a switch on a system this powerful. We need step-by-step testing protocols before any real implementation. It must be gradual, starting with sandboxed simulations, then moving to small-scale, low-stakes pilot programs. Every step must be rigorously audited for unintended consequences before proceeding to the next.
After 1 year, we simulate 2 endpoints. The best case, a tangible leap in human flourishing, smart grids cut emissions, predictive healthcare reduces hospitalizations, and automated bureaucracy delivers benefits in hours, not months. The worst case, a digital dystopia. Systemic bias is now policy, creating AI-enforced ghettos. A major cyber attack on the water supply cripples a city for days. Public trust in government collapses, leading to mass protests and a crisis of democratic legitimacy. To distinguish between these futures, we need a dashboard of hard data. Measurable indicators help us evaluate the experiment objectively. We'll track the Gini coefficient for income inequality, public trust surveys, emergency service response times, and the nation's carbon footprint. These are the data points that will tell us whether this grand experiment is leading to utopia or disaster. If societies are to consider such pilots, the list of non-negotiable safeguards must be robust. This begins with open data standards, so the public and independent researchers can scrutinize the information these systems are built on. It's about transparency, not a black box. Then come mandatory independent audits by third-party watchdogs tasked with hunting for bias, security flaws, and unintended consequences. Citizens must be granted an inalienable right to explanation. If an AI-driven system denies you a loan or flags you for inspection, you have the right to know why, in clear, human-understandable terms. And critically, there must be an emergency kill switch, a final, human-operated failsafe to halt the system instantly if it begins to produce catastrophic outcomes. Above all, the datasets used to train these AIs must be rigorously curated to be inclusive and representative of the entire population. Without this, we are simply encoding our existing societal biases into a faster, more unforgiving system. An AI can optimize decisions, but governance is about values as much as efficiency. It's a deeply human process, wrestling with concepts that defy simple metrics: justice, compassion, and fairness. It's about balancing competing rights. When we reduce governance to pure efficiency, we risk creating a society that is perfectly optimized but lacks the soul that makes it worth living in. The most efficient solution is rarely the most just or humane one.
We are often so captivated by the promise of technology that we leap ahead without asking the most fundamental questions. We see a complex social problem and immediately reach for a technological fix. But the ultimate question isn't whether we can build these systems. The technical hurdles will likely be overcome. The far more important question is whether we should. And if we do, how do we architect them from the ground up to ensure we maintain human agency and democratic oversight in the process?
This brings the question back to us. What trade-offs are you willing to accept for a more efficient society? Where is the line between helpful optimization and algorithmic overreach? Should certain domains like criminal justice or childcare be permanently off-limits to AI governance? The future of our societies depends on the conversation we have today. Tell us what you think in the comments. Your perspective is a vital part of this ongoing experiment, and if you want to continue exploring these deep dives into technology and society, subscribe for more.